welcome to Talk of the Game. It's the match preview. West Ham United against Sheffield United, or the Tevez Derby. Gonzo, what's your thoughts on our opponents, please?
Naughty, nasty, well organised, thuggish, brutish. Chris Wilder, in many respects, the new Sam Allardyce or Tony Pulis, shall we say. Tactically very, very astute. He did remarkable to get them up, actually. And I think he's certainly surprising a few. The fact that it looks like he may well keep them up. But they find themselves above us in the table, which that will obviously be wonderful for them. Not quite so good for us. But if they was trying to go under the radar, then the win against Arsenal certainly propelled them into everyone's consciousness. I actually like the way, I was thinking quite recently, nobody seems to play mind games anymore. I meant managers, not like the old days, the good old days. And up he popped. He plays a lot of mind games. I like the way he interviews. I like the way he calls out his players in press conferences as well. There's obviously not football wise, but there's a lot to admire about his man management style and the way he deals with the press.
I think you're being very harsh on Sheffield United's style of play. Actually, they are well organised, but they're not Allardyce. They're not Tony Pulis. When they get the ball, they keep it on the deck and they play football. They like to get it wide, they like to get their crosses in. There's nothing wrong with that, actually. I've seen quite a bit of Sheffield United this season, actually, and every time I've seen them, I've been impressed. There's been a couple of games I've thought they don't have enough in attack, but they still create enough chances. And they're not conceding any chances at all. They are the most organised team in the league, I think. I actually think they're more organised than Liverpool, they're more organised than Man City. They're the most organised team in the Premier League right now. And I think you're sort of what you said about the style of play. I don't think that's certainly not my opinion, actually. I think they've done really, really well. They've done well to get up, and I actually thought they'd go straight back down, truth be told, because I looked at their squad and I thought they've not got enough there. But actually, individually, I stand by that. I do stand by the fact that individually I don't think they've got enough penalty, but collectively, in how well they play and how organised they are, do you think they're going to stay up?
I think they may well do, actually. They've got something about them. The manager, as I say, definitely has something about him. I think they've got rich owners as well, who obviously speculated that they might stay in. I think if they do stay up, then they'll find themselves going on to spend a lot of money and maybe not be too worried about financial fair play if they do so. They seem to have enough about them. They are more than the sum of their parts. As you said, you looked at the squad, but it is very much a British-based squad. A lot of their players are English, Irish, Scottish, British. Everybody knows what British is, of course. So I think that really helps them a lot. And even like the lone player, like Dan Henderson, I think he's from Man U. He was on loan last season, I believe, there, and he's there again. So there's continuity. They know what they're doing. It is a very well-run and well-managed football club, no doubt about it. But it all stems from the bloke at the top.
I think they'll stay up. I thought they were going to finish bottom, to be honest with you. I predicted them to finish 20th, but after what I've seen so far this season and what I've seen of other teams as well, I think actually they do okay. I think come the end of the season, if they are in trouble, it's because they don't score enough goals. They don't create enough chances and stuff. But I think they'll stay up. I really do. Is there any players out there, as I always ask you, what players do you admire from the upcoming opposition?
I think Jack the Bone Cruncher O'Connell is a particularly good player. John Two-Footed Fleck is very good as well. Not so much up front, as you said. They seem to have a load of Championship players up front. They seem to have, obviously they've got Billy Sharp, who has had a good career at lower levels, and they seem to have backed him up with more clones of Billy Sharp. But it doesn't matter. They've got a Lundstrom who is doing just so much work for him at the moment and looks to be really good. As I said, the keeper, very, very good as well. He's got a decision to make, hasn't he? What with De Gea signing the new deal at Manchester United, but bigger and better than the sum of their parts. As I say, I can't stress it highly enough. The real star man is Wilder.
I think Henderson's brilliant. I do think Henderson's brilliant in goal for them. All the players have impressed me, actually. Robinson was someone I was keeping an eye on when he made his move. He got his move up to the Premier League. I thought, okay, let's see how he does. And he's done okay. I don't think he's ripped up yet, but I do think he's done well. They've obviously got Ravel Morrison there, haven't they? But he's not done anything at Sheffield United, and he seems to have encountered more and more problems there. But Norwood in midfield, inside Fleck and Lundstram, you've just mentioned. You mentioned O'Connell, but even Egan at the back, and then they've got Stevens. Stevens impresses me at left back, or left wing back, the way they play. He's impressed me as well. But they've all had a really solid start to their season. Actually, there's no one in that team you look at and you think, oh wow, he's top quality, is he? But there's no one you look at and think there's a weakness. They don't have any weaknesses. So does that mean they're possibly the worst team for us to play on Saturday, Gonzo? For people tuning in, they obviously beat Arsenal Monday night, so they'll be feeling a little bit competent. They've got the best defence in the league. The only team that have conceded is Liverpool, but they've got more clean sheets. They're unbeaten away in the Premier League so far, 4 games, but they're unbeaten in them all. Is this our worst possible opponents?
Yeah, I think it's a possibility of lambs to the slaughter here. I mean, I joke about him being thuggish and all the rest of it, but they do get a lot of yellow cards. They do commit a lot of fouls, and he's almost proud of that. He wears that as a badge of honour. But you listen to the way he speaks, listen to the way he talks, and listen to his interview in the week, and he was saying how he demands that his players are winners. He don't want his players to be shrinking violets. If they're having a game of cards on the coach, he wants them to get the arse up. He wants them to get the ump if they lose. You know, he wants them to be the best at pool. He wants winners, and he doesn't care if it makes them niggly and nasty to one another. So he is he's allowing what can we say, an atmosphere to fester within the club where it's highly competitive in everything you do. He wants people pushing into the queue in the canteen. Get out of the way. And you know, it's gritty, gnarly ethos to the club. And whereas obviously you've got ours at the moment, you know, well, we've got to have a big club mentality and all the rest of it. I do worry. I do worry that they are going to come out fired up. He seems to be. He reminded me a little bit of Eddie Jones, who's the, for those who don't know, the England rugby union coach who has been playing mind games with New Zealand all week. And Wilder reminded me very much of Eddie Jones, the way he's putting it out there. So he said all the nasty stuff. He said basically his team are a bunch of ravenous animals who are horrible to each other. And then he's gone today and said, oh, well, you know what, actually, we might be a bit tired. We've had a tough game. And so... I mean, it's I do like the old mind games in the press. It does make the press conferences very, very interesting. They're the worst team to play, Geo, because they will come out at 1,000 miles an hour, and that's not something we do.
I agree. I think they are possibly the worst team out of the league to play this weekend. I think almost if you played Liverpool or Man City and got beat, you can excuse that a little bit. But on paper, the fans are expecting to win this on paper, and I don't. Well, we'll get on to it in a minute. It's quite funny actually, because when you're talking about that, I thought actually you're right. They've installed a winning mentality and we've installed a big club mentality, and I think that's the problem. A big club would be expected to turn up and win this game, putting in a 7, 8 out of 10 because you've just got that better players. And actually they've installed a winning mentality where they know they're going to have to battle for every single point, and they're doing it, and they deserve what they've got on the table. Defensively, they've conceded, I think, the 4th least amount of shots in the league so far or something like that. It's ridiculous. They're so well organised. I watched the game against Arsenal. I've watched them quite a bit, but everyone knows their job, and whenever the other team get the ball, it's a case of, well, you can have it in your third, you can have it in the middle third if you want, but good luck getting into the final third, because when you get there's 9 of us behind the ball, and when we get it, we've got 2 strikers on the halfway line waiting for it. They're both big, they're both strong, they're neither of them are slow, so we're going to pump it up to them. They're going to win it. They're going to battle, and we're going to gain territory almost. You speak of rugby. I think that's what Sheffield United do something. They just try and gain a little bit of territory, get the free kick, and go, right, everybody push up, get a free kick on the halfway line, get the big boys up, and we'll see what we can do. And it works. It's very, very effective. And this is what worries me. I think they're the most efficient team in the Premier League right now. And I think we are possibly the least efficient team in the Premier League right now. And that's what worries me. We're away to talk about West Ham, though. There's quite a bit to talk about, but before I do that, just to remind you, the boats are running on Saturday, so you can get your ticket for the boats and join us for a beer and a barbecue if you wish. And of course, this preview is sponsored by OneFootball. The link to that app is in the description below. It's completely free, so if you want all your team news from both sides in the build-up to Saturday's game, get it downloaded, get your West Ham notifications on. They'll come through to your phone as it happens. 2 p.m, you'll get the team sheet through to your phone, and hopefully you'll get notifications of Sebastian Haller scoring to make it 1-0 West Ham. But will that be the case? That's what we're here to discuss. Let's start with the defence, Gonzo, because I think this is a reasonably easy subject to start with, and then we're going to get into slightly more juicy bits where there's a lot to talk about. Would you like to see any changes to back four that started against Everton, which was Fredericks, Diop, Ogbonna and Masuaku?
I probably would draft Cresswell back in, actually, for this one, I've got to say. I think, I'll give you my reasoning. I think they are going to set up with whatever, but it's not 2 banks 4 because they obviously played with 3 at the back, but you know what I mean. They're going to set up with 2 layers. When your team is set up with 2 layers, there's a few ways to get through them. One of them is with the threaded, cute, cultured ball. I don't think it looks like we haven't got it in our arsenal at the moment. The other way is to get crosses in. And we have got a very, very big striker who's very good. And I think the best crosser from that left-hand side is Aaron Cresswell, and I would like to see him deployed so as he can get the ball over to Sebastian Haller to hopefully nod one in.
Yeah, I agree. It's Aaron Cresswell for me, for the reasons I've repeated every week. We talk about the left back. Now, Lanzini, Felipe Anderson, Pablo Fornals. All 3 started. At least one you're going to want dropped. I know that because we're both going to sit here and say Yarmolenko is an absolute must. So one of them getting dropped. How many would you like to see dropped? 1, 2 or 3, and which ones?
Funny enough, I probably wouldn't, as much as I do rate him, I think possibly this is the wrong game for Felipe Anderson. And Lanzini, I know he's not been in fantastic form of late, but Lanzini sort of battles a bit, if you know what I mean. He's got a little bit of a scrappy do in him, He will... He don't mind skipping past players, and when it's tight in midfield, actually the ability to jump past a player in the middle could make all the difference. So I think he may well be busier. I think he's less likely to shrink into his shell if he's kicked as well, and he's going to get kicked. Everyone's going to get kicked. Felipe Anderson, I think, is probably not that guy. I think Felipe Anderson gets kicked and he may well retreat into himself. So I might put Felipe Anderson on the bench and allow him to become an impact substitute. And
Fornals, would you keep him in or?
Oh, no. Crikey. I mean, he's really going to get kicked. I mean, I might not even have him on the bench, to be honest with you.
Do you know something? On Saturday night, I was thinking all 3 need dropped. I would drop all 3 of them. I really would. I was just thinking, get them all out the team and just put a completely different 3 in. Because I do think we've got the personnel there. I think there's one guy that absolutely starts. One guy maybe deserves a chance going by what he's done coming off the bench. And one guy deserves a chance going by what he's been doing in the under 23. So I thought, okay, we've got the 3 players there that can come in for them. Like for like almost. Now I've calmed down. I think at least 2 of these need taken out, and it's a difficult decision as to who to take out. I think Fornals comes out just because it's a new league to him, really, and you talk about getting kicked, he's not going to like it. He's not going to like Norwood clattering into the back of him or anything like that. He's not going to like John Fleck sliding in for him. That leaves Lanzini and Anderson, and it's a toss-up for me, to be honest with you. It's flip a coin, and one of them starts and the other one drops out, because Yarmolenko needs to come in, and the other player that needs to come in my opinion, I think you're going to bring him in as well. So who would you like to see come in?
Nathan Holland, as I'm sure you agree.
No, I was going to say Jack Wilshere.
Oh, okay. So, well, at least you didn't say Robert Snodgrass.
Yeah, but you know something? On Saturday, I would have took in Holland. Holland because he scored twice since then, and then in 23, I thought, let's get someone in that can provide the width, that is direct, that will have a goal, that is confident. Because the problem with them 3 on Saturday, they weren't confident. They were all lacking in confidence. They were all timid. None of them was taking responsibility. So I thought, let's give someone. Diangana. This is why I didn't want Diangana loaned out. I always kept saying to you last season, he's fearless. He keeps going at a fullback. If it doesn't work, he goes again. He keeps going. With Lanzini, Anderson and Fornals on Saturday, Goodson Park, I didn't see that. They tried it once, didn't work. They thought, oh well, that's me. I'm not trying it again because it's already not work. But I would bring in Wilshere for this because I think he's looked good. I think he did okay when he came on against Palace, and I think he looked good against Everton when he came on. He was doing a couple of little turns that nobody else had done throughout the game, and I thought, right, okay, he's able to get the ball and in 2 moves break He's able to get in behind the midfield and run at him. So I would take Jack Wilshere in, because I do think he has got a bit of a bite in him. I think he's a bit of a naughty boy, actually. And if Wilder had a blank checkbook, I think Jack Wilshere's the type of player who wouldn't actually mind in there. Someone that is a bit of like a dog with a bone, but has that little special ability going forward. But Yarmolenko in for me, and Alier stays up front. So Nathan Holland for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got the pace, which I think is vital. He runs direct as well. If he won't beat a man, stop the ball, and then try and beat the man again. If he beats the man, he will run, and his delivery is excellent off either foot. And I think delivery is key, which is why I said what I said about Aaron Cresswell. I also think, whilst he's not been playing in the top level, they do kick each other a bit in the under 23s. It can be quite physical down there. There's a lot of people trying to prove themselves, trying to get into first team squads. He's a man in form. He's got great set piece delivery. He's got great delivery from crosses. And you often speak about Yarmolenko as the only guy that can have a shot. Well, I said earlier, when a team sits with two layers of defence, it can be a slide rule pass that can get you through. It can be a cross that can get you through, or it can be a long shot. And Nathan Holland is also, much like Yarmolenko, not afraid to take a long shot, and he's pretty damn accurate at it, which is why I'd have him in the team.
And would you keep in Alier, Rice and Noble, or would you?
Yeah, I think you have to. Well, you don't have to, but I would for this one.
I think Noble's role needs change still for this game, i.e. stop running forward. No more of this running forward. Just stay disciplined, because Sheffield United utilised that long ball that they do, the direct ball. It's a pass, in my opinion. I think there's a difference between Sam Allardyce fucking launch up the park and see what happens, where Sheffield United aim for their striker, but they've also got another striker up there with him the majority of the time, so there's two of them up there, so one can head it to the other one. And that gap in between our defence and our midfield is crucial, because that's where they like to get in. And if we're too slow, likes of John Fleck are going to be thundering up the pitch, and we're going to have Noble lagging in behind them, because they are fit, Sheffield United. They are really, really fit. They work tirelessly for 90 minutes from start to finish. So if this game's a draw heading into the last 20 minutes or something, I'm going to start to worry a bit, because I'm going to think, hang on a minute, going by what I've seen this season, if anyone's going to win it, it's them. It's a bit like the Crystal Palace effect. We are then going to struggle. So is it a big game for Pellegrini, or should I say an important game for Pellegrini?
Yeah, I think it's possibly even more than important for Pellegrini. You do not want, if we win it, it almost puts us back to where maybe we think we should be, or where we thought we might be. Does it put us back into that game where if we win we go third? No, but that was false anyway. But number one, it probably puts us above Sheffield United for a start, which is a good thing. Gets us back up into the top half of the table. That's if we win, and then the murmurings, the mutterings, they all stop for a little while at least. 90% of them stop anyway. Draw or lose, particularly lose, it's going to be a very unhappy place to be wherever you are, be you at the ground or watching on the telly or whatever you might be doing. It's going to be very, very hard for Pellegrini to justify another loss on the bounce. And he was talking about it today. And he was saying it's a bit like last season when we first started and we lost 4 games on the spin or whatever. Well, it's not the same. That's all. It's not the same, because there was lots of new signings. He was new, and there was a bit of mitigation for that. Also, the run-in, those 4 games were harder games than the ones we have now. With some winnable games, you wouldn't expect, Sheffield United and Crystal Palace to be beating us. So it's massive. And if he loses, then the pressure is on, and I'm telling you what, the inquests and the analysis will be going on long into the night, from 4:45 right until midnight, right until match of the day. It will be a very, very unhappy place, and then we'll be spending the next week questioning everything.
I think you're right. I think this is it Pellegrini's most important game at West Ham? I think it possibly is, I think last season he had that new manager excuse, right? You let him off with it. You're right, the first 4 games of last season, this is completely different, because he was also, everything was different. He was changing formation, everything was different. Now, there's no excuses. last season he was playing Marco Navic shoehorned up front. This season he's got a £45 million striker up front now. So it's almost like you've got no excuses now, Pellegrini. It's now up to you to go get it. And I seen his comments earlier saying that he almost wasn't bothered about losing at Everton because it's a hard place to go. It was the loss against Crystal Palace. Well, I don't agree with you, but let's take your own rule here, Pellegrini. That means you've got to win against Sheffield United because that is a very similar game to Crystal Palace. So if we then lose, going by your own analysis, that's a really bad result. And if we lose, like you said, people will be really unhappy. Everybody's going to get pissed off. If we draw, I think we'll be having this conversation again before the Newcastle game. I don't think anything changes. Everything just gets delayed a week. We win. Good. Let's see where we go from here. Most importantly, we get an injection of confidence. Not just the fans, but the players. Everyone gets that little uplift that we're needing right now because it's a bit of a glum place at the minute. So I think it's a really important game for Pellegrini. I don't think it's an important game for West Ham. I don't think it's an important game for the players. They'll still be here. They'll still be okay. It's the manager that actually now it's starting to... He's getting a lot wrong in the last few games, Pellegrini, and I think people are starting to call him out over it, if you like. So I think he needs to sort of step up because we're all saying, hang on, you're fourth highest paid manager in the league, £8 million a year. What are we getting for it? And while we're questioning it, I think the co-chairman will be as well. I think David Sullivan will be sitting in his seat looking down at the pitch going, well, what is this? I've spent £150 million. We're paying Alair over 2 years, which is completely not normal for West Ham. He probably doesn't like that deal at all, but he did get the man in. He needs some justification for all the spending, if you like. Are you confident?
No, I'm not confident. I'm not confident at all. But I do think we'll win because we have to win. And as much as he's taken a bit of a battering, Pellegrini, from myself, I've got to say, I've been quite harsh on him this week. Actually, questioned his tactics, questioned his management, his motivational skills. But he is an experienced manager. He's not impervious to everything. He's going to be fully aware that things are not going to be very good if he loses this game. So I think it's a must-win. I think for him, for the players, and because it's a must-win, I think we probably will win.
I'm not confident at all. It's because it's Sheffield United. Actually, this is a compliment to Sheffield United. I just think they're really well organised. Everything we can't do, or everything we struggle with, that's their strength. We struggle. No one shoots. They don't concede shots. We're struggling to score goals recently. They're not conceding any. We're struggling for creativity. They play a back five when defending. They play a back five. They're very difficult to break down. Our defence struggles with big target men. They play two. I'm not looking forward to Diop up against McGoldrick. McGoldrick's going to put Diop on his arse a few times on Saturday, and that worries me a little bit. I'm more worried about the likes of Troy Deeney and that up against our centre backs than I am against the likes of Pukki and even Richarlison, because they are on the floor type players. I think we deal okay with them. It's when it comes to the big guy up front, goes, let's have a battle in the air. We saw it against Brighton. Diop got sat down by Glenn Murray and then they scored from it. So I think that worries me. I don't think we'll win, Gonzo, and that's what worries me a little bit. It's not because we've got beat by Crystal Palace. It's not because we've got beat by Everton. It's how we got beat by Crystal Palace and Everton. We didn't look like scoring. We could have played another 45 minutes at Everton and still not scored, and that's why I have a little confidence. Remember the Everton game, we did this, and I said to you, I don't think we'll win because of the Crystal Palace game. How could I be confident? I've now got two of them. I think the Bournemouth game there's plenty to be confident about, but we still conceded two. I don't know. We don't have much firepower. My worry is Pellegrini's team selection. I worry about that a little bit, to be honest with you. I think he'll make one or two changes. I think Wiltshire will come in. I'll predict this now. I think he'll take Jack Wiltshire in, and I think he'll drop Lanzini. I think he'll take Yarmolenko in and drop Fornals, and I think that'll be the only changes he makes. He might do the left back change, but that'll be it. He won't change anything else. And I'm just not confident. So you're confident. Well, you're not confident, but you think we'll win. So can I have your score prediction, please?
Yeah, hold on. Just before we do, I actually did think he will make 3 or 4 changes. Actually, I think he'll do as much as he possibly can.
Let's do a prediction. I say he'll drop Lanzini. Fornals. That's all I think he'll change. I don't think he'll change Masuaku.
Okay. Well, we're just guessing. I think he might draft. I think he might change. I think he'll change fullback. I think he might change one of the centre backs.
Give me the names. I want the names. I want accuracy. Come on, call this right. Let's go.
Well, left back. He's going to change the left back. I don't need to give you names. He's only got 2 bloody left backs. Balbuena will come in. I think for Ogbonna.
That would be a mistake. If he does that, that's a mistake.
We've given what teams we want to see. I'm just telling you what I think might happen. I think he drops Noble and he drafts Wilshere in there. And I wouldn't be surprised if he drops Anderson and plays Nathan Holland as well.
Yarmolenko.
And this is why I think we might win. Not because he's just done those changes, because I think he knows actually his job's on the line. Not if he loses Sheffield United, he gets sacked, but it's the start of the downward spiral. So I think he goes in there and he makes the changes and he goes in that dressing room and he says, boys, this is unacceptable. What's gone on last week is no good at all. I'm going to be ruthless. I'm going to cull you. Let me tell you what's going to go out there. It's going to be like the Colosseum when you get out there. The Sheffield United fans are going to be making twice the noise of the West Ham fans. They're going to be singing about Tevez. They're going to be singing, you're not West Ham anymore. They're going to be singing about how you sold the bowling ground for this pile of rubbish and all the rest of it. They're going to tackle you. They're going to be 2-footed. I want you to go out there. I want you to act like men and go out there and battle and show why you deserve to remain in this team. Show why you deserve to remain in my team. Because quite frankly, if we mess this up, I'm probably going. If I go, you'll probably go as well. And then you're going to do your fat contracts, will and all. And you need to get in the dressing room and say something like that. And I do think, whilst he might not do it in that exact same twang, I think he will convey that message because he will know how significant and important this game is.
Do you know something? I wouldn't be surprised if he brings in Snodgrass, actually. He might think, there's my grafter. He always gives 100%. I'm getting him in the team because then at least I've got one player giving 100% instead of none. So I wouldn't be surprised with that. Can I get your score prediction then?
Yeah, sure. Sheffield United 4, West Ham 0. No, I'm joking. I actually think we might win 2-0.
I'm torn between two results, and they're not a world apart. I'm torn between 0-0 and 1-1. I'm going to say 0-0. I think it'll be a low scoring game, and I don't think we'll win. I think it'll be a draw, so I'm going to say 0-0. West Ham 0, Sheffield United 0, and good point for Sheffield United. They'll take that. Really bad point for Manuel Pellegrini, especially another game without scoring. Not good. Anyway, you guys at home, let us know what you would like to see starting this team. Changes are required. Yarmolenko at the very least needs to come in for this one. Put them in the comments below. We'll be having a little look. Give us your score predictions as well. Are you feeling confident for this one? If so, why? If not, why? Although I think that's quite obvious going by Sheffield United more than anything. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're around here. We'll be back on this channel live at Saturday. I'm not going to the game. I can't do 2 weekends in a row. I've got Newcastle, so I'll be at home watching it. So I'll be doing the review live at full time. So come along at 4:45, and hopefully we'll be talking about 3 points rather than pressure Manuel Pellegrini. Catch you in a bit.